Hello, my friends. Welcome back. We are going to draw is a still life. Say the word still life. Still life is an arrangement of objects. In the dictionary, it's unanimated objects, but you can say without life. Like this has no life. It's not moving either. And it's an arrangement of objects. The objects usually are overlapping each other. Like, for example, the pear and the apple are overlapping the plate, and the plate is overlapping the table. Okay, so we're going to be drawing these. By the way, these are not real apples. It's not a real pear. Is ones that I have so I can teach the class. So that way it's the same when I teach it in the class. Okay. During the class time, we are going to be practicing how to draw a still life, and then the students will have an opportunity to make it creative, add their own things to it, etc. But for this activity today, we will basically be drawing this just to get a hands on shading and placement and so forth. You will need a pencil. You will need some type of sturdy paper, and then I would say 3 objects. You don't have to go crazy with many. You can add even smaller objects than these and arrange them somewhere and then observe them and draw them. So we are going to be drawing these. So I'm going to set up my station, and I know you're going to see part of it as I'm drawing. And I can't put the whole thing there, but that's okay. All right, so the first thing first, from my point of view, I can actually see the circular form of the plate. Sometimes when you have a still life, let me just put the lights a little darker because it's so light. Some points of view, when you put still life, sometimes you can't see the plate as a circle. It looks like an oval. But in my case, I can see the circle because the way that I'm seeing it, I'm above the picture. All right, so I'm going to draw the circular plate first. Okay. Yes, I'm not using a shape to trace. I'm just drawing the circle as I see, because it's a still life. It's not like a perfect symmetrical form. Making just a little darker so you can see that. That's the only reason, my friends, because the light shines a lot. I love this room, but it's super light. All right, so I have the circular plate. The plate has a rim, so I'm going to lightly draw a circle inside that circle, and there might be parts of the plate that we won't see later, but that's okay. I'm just gonna get that ready. Get that ready, right? And I can fix the curves later. All right. So now the apple. This is the apple. Okay, so I'm going to put it back over there. I'm going to draw the apple. And in my point of view, the apple is not perfectly round at all. So I'm going to draw it as I see it. And apples are not completely round. They have it's between like a thick heart and a circle at the same time, depending what type of apple. All right, so that's your apple shape. Then we have the pear. The pear shape is almost, I want to say, like a wide cylinder in the bottom, a little narrow cylinder in the top, like that. Okay, these are the basic shapes, all right? Then the apple has where the stem grows when it falls off of the tree. So we're going to make the indentation, and your stem comes out from here. The stem comes in the supermarket. When you buy it, you can see the stem of the apple, okay? The stem of the pear also, because the pear also comes from a tree. So the pear comes here, and the indentation of the pear is just a little bit like more narrow. I can make this a little scale. Ooh, where's my eraser? Where did my eraser go? Okay, here it is. Have to make that stem just a little bit skinnier. A little skinnier. All right, so we have our plate. We have our fruits, and and not fancy, whatever. But we're going to start adding shadows to it so you can see. So before I do that, I'm going to fix up every curve, every line. Check out my apple. Check the indentation where the stem comes out, where we got our apple. Check my pear. Before I do shadows, I want to check all these areas. Like that, okay? And definitely check my plate. And if I have to turn my paper around so I can see my curve, that's what I'm going to do. As mentioned before, I teach that to my students. They can turn their artwork upside down so they can edit, check mistakes, or check where they need to add something else or change it maybe. Maybe. Because your eye gets tired when you draw on your paint. So if you put it upside down, your eye refreshes itself. Okay. I'm going to clean up these lines. Clean up these lines. Right there. And clean it a little bit over here. I can even make my pear bigger if I want to. I could. But I want to show you shading. All right, so shading, you need a light source. So for example, let's say our light source is over here. So I'm just going to draw the sun. Does not mean you have to draw the sun out there. But that way you know there's a light or there's the sun. Something is out there that is lighter. So then the shadow will be on the opposite side. So I'm going to start the shadow on my apple by hatching. Hatching is using the pencil sideways. See that? Okay, sideways. So I can start creating a shadow. Put a little bit of light there because now the shadow is happening. And a little bit of the shadow here. Hatching again, using the pencil sideways. All right, to create a shadow. There's some shadow here. All right. Then I have shadows on my plate as well. So my apple is producing a shadow under my plate. Shadow. Again, I can use hatching. Hatching is using lines in one direction. If you use lines in two directions, then it's cross hatching. Cross hatching. Okay, so you see it's taking shape now. And then actually my plate has a little dent in it. Yeah, not like a bad dent. It's just like it's a little deeper in there. So I'm going to make a shadow on this side and make a shadow on this side. And as you see, I'm moving my pencil, but I'm also moving my paper as I go. Okay, not too fancy, but we can jazz it up. By now, you see the hatching, I did it very lightly. So now, close to the darker shadows, I can make it a little darker. A little darker. Very dark. Very dark. Extremely dark in the shadow under the pear. And as you notice, I have been cross hatching in the bottom just to make the shadow a little darker. And I've been moving my hand, sometimes moving the paper. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to make a shadow under the apple. Okay. And I'm using it sideways. I'm going to move my paper as I go, so don't get dizzy. I'm just moving my paper to do cross hatching. And then if you notice, one side is lighter shadows, and then the shadows get slightly darker. I'm just moving my curtain because like the sun is going away or there's a cloud out there. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going. And of course, check on and off my real pieces and my paper. In my case that I'm doing both. because I'm recording it. And you see, they're darker here. Darker, darker, darker. A little lighter here. And I'm crossing, going in different directions. Sometimes even as an X. So, all right. Okay. Actually has a little bit of a shadow on the side. Oh, it's color. It's a little shadow color. All right. See? And then here, there's a shadow from the plate. You can blend it, by the way, if you have a cotton ball. I'm just not going to move from this table because the bathroom is all the way on the other side. So far away. All right. So let me keep going. And you are getting the idea. So remember, you start lightly with a shadow. And as you go, then you start making it darker. Why? Because it's easier to erase. If you make a mistake, you can still fix it. Yeah, you can fix it. All right, so I'm moving it out. And I can keep going. I mean, I can keep adding shadows and shadows. And by the way, you see this little dent? There is actually a shadow slightly here. Slightly here. And now, of course, the sun is almost out. Okay, so slightly here. See that? And that way the lighter parts are the highlights. I will leave some parts with nothing. So they will look like highlights since I'm using a pencil. By the way, if you're in my class, we will do this exercise together. Now, when you do your real still life, you are like the actual still life. This is like our practice. When we do our real still life, you will use color. Can you use color on top of the shading you do? You can. It's just the pencil marks will show, but yeah, you can. You can. No big deal. No drama. No drama. All right. So I'm going to put a slight color here. A little bit next to that indentation. And a little bit here. You see that? And then you can go on. As I said, you can use a cotton ball to make it smoother. Smoother. All right, my friends. Thank you for watching. You created, remember, a still life and you added shadows and highlights. The end.